What's up, gaming guys? Brian here, the 3 Topics Gaming Hitter Share with you. Another one of my Star Wars related worst to best ranking videos to share with you guys today. Now, this video kind of serves as a follow-up to my last Star Wars ranking video in which I ranked all of the current live-action Disney television shows. For this particular video, I will be going over all of the Star Wars animated TV shows. So this goes from like the original 2000, I believe, 3 or 4 like Clone Wars like mini-series, all the way to the most recent animated television show. So we got a lot to go over. So if you do happen to enjoy this ranking video by the end, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep track of me on all my future videos. And remember, if you guys have any ideas for future ranking videos or discussion videos or reactions or reviews in general, make sure you let me know in the comments down below, and I will try to get it up as soon as I can. So without wasting any more time, let's start off with the first entry, which I have quite a bit to say about right out of the gate. Okay, start off right out of the gate. I gotta mention this one because I didn't watch this. I didn't know this existed until I was doing research for this video, but could anyone explain what the hell this is? What exactly is Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures? When did when did this come out, and what is this about? Like, I've only seen screenshot pictures of this, but like, I don't know what to say. I mean, clearly I'm not the target audience, but just looks so goofy, like maybe for toddlers. Like, I think even 5 or 6, 7-year-olds wouldn't even watch this show. So, yeah, Star Wars Young Jedi Adventure. Didn't watch, and I'm not sure anyone else did. Okay, but without question, taking the lowest spot on my list, number 7, is going to have to go to Star Wars Resistance. This lasted apparently only 1 season from 2019 to 2020. Takes place right before the events of Star Wars Episode 7. And I didn't like this at all. I saw a few episodes about this. This was not good. I absolutely despise how this show looks. I think the performances, the voice acting isn't all that great. I think the characters aren't that great. I think what little action it has isn't all that great. This is just not a very appealing show for a Star Wars period of time that I'm just not interested in at all. There is absolutely nothing about the sequel trilogy that I find appealing or entertaining or even visually appealing. So the fact that we have this unfortunate show that leads into some of the worst Star Wars films ever made is just, you know, not a good reputation for this show to have, which is why, without question, it is the least most impressive, by far the worst Star Wars Disney animated show on to date, at least in my opinion. Taking number 6 spot is going to have to go to Star Wars Rebels. Now, I know that this might seem surprising because I'm sure that there's a lot of you that actually enjoyed Rebels, but I didn't watch a lot of it. There were only like a few key episodes that I did watch. Like anything that involved Vader, I saw. Anything involving Obi-Wan, I think there's like 1 episode that had Obi-Wan that I saw. When Ahsoka popped up, I saw those episodes for a little bit. I mean, when you know, Captain Rex reappeared, like I didn't actually watch the entirety of it, but just little key spots. And from what I saw, I think there were high points, but I think overall, I don't think the show was all that great from what little I saw. I mean, when it was good, but I don't think everything around those key episodes was very, very good. Now, I do think it is unfortunate that in order to understand the Ahsoka live-action TV show, you had to watch all of this to understand exactly why characters were in certain places in that show. So I guess it's a necessary watch if you want to enjoy that show, but even at the time, it wasn't all that appealing to me. I mean, maybe somewhere down the road, if I'm really, really bored and I'm really, really curious, maybe I'll sit down and binge watch all the seasons of this, because it actually ran for quite a bit of time. I think it ran for about 3 years, from 2014 to 2017. So to have a show go on for that long must mean that there's something about it that might be of some quality, but it just didn't feel like it appealed to me all that much, which is why it takes number 6 spot on my list. Now, taking the number 5 spot is a little bit confusing because it's kind of made up of technically 2 different types of shows, but they kind of fit under the same umbrella. But I'm just going to call it as Star Wars Tales. Now, apparently, as it currently says, there's 2 different Star Wars Tales series, one of Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire. I actually really liked Tales of the Jedi, how it kind of focused on the fall of Count Dooku and the training of Ahsoka and what happened after Order 66 happened. I really did like that. But then when you go to Tales of the Empire, it focused on 2 characters that I believe Barriss Offee there was so much potential you could have done with that character, and I think it just didn't work out at all. And then the other character they focused on was another character that I wasn't even interested at all. I can't even remember her name, but I think she gets killed off in like the Ahsoka series, so I don't know why they felt like needing to do a background on that character, but yeah, it just kind of balances out. So Tales of the Jedi, really enjoyed. Tales of the Empire, not so much, so it just kind of falls right in the middle, which is why it takes number 5 spot on my list. Taking number 4 spot is going to have to go to Star Wars The Bad Batch. Now, I have to admit, to take a few small episodes of the final season of the Clone Wars surrounding around this kind of alternate unit of the Clone Wars where there was like kind of mutated versions of the clones that became its own unit, and to make an entire number of seasons around this small unit was a very, very impressive feat, even by today's standards. And I have to admit, The Bad Batch was a good show. I absolutely loved how each individual character felt very important. There were suspenseful moments, there was good action, there was a good story to be told. It actually built off of things that we had seen in the Clone Wars, at least in like a number of elements of the Clone Wars TV show. And I just think it was actually a great watch, and I'm actually happy with its conclusion. It had a lot of great characters. It was nice to see where they went, and it wasn't always sunshines and rainbows. There was some few tragic moments that I have to admit I did get slightly emotional. So yeah, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Star Wars, Disney, managed to have a few small specks of success, and I would say that The Bad Batch is certainly one of them. But it's probably maybe because it was built off the backs of the Clone Wars series, but heck, I'll give it some points. Taking number 3 was an animated show that I did not expect to enjoy as much as I did, but I gotta admit, I had a lot of fun watching Star Wars Visions. Now, even though story-wise, it doesn't actually connect to anything established in Star Wars, what I really appreciated is it kind of reminded me of, not sure if you guys remember this, Matrix Animatrix, where you took the aesthetic, you took elements from your franchise, and you kind of did it in a different visual style. So to be able to take key elements or well-known elements of Star Wars, create your own individual story that you don't have to see anything before it, and you don't need to see where it goes. Its own self-containing story, and doing it in all these multiple different animation styles was something I really enjoyed. And I think they did 2 seasons of this, and I think both seasons were really, really great. With just great visuals, great storytelling, just great individuality. So it's kind of cool to be able to see aesthetics of Star Wars done in so many unique ways, and I really was quite entertained. So yeah, I did not expect to enjoy Star Wars Visions as much as I did, but yeah, I easily would give it a number 3 spot on my list. Taking the number 2 spot is going to have to go to the 2003 Star Wars Clone Wars animated miniseries. Now, there were technically 2 seasons of this, and these episodes pretty much go over specific characters at specific points. It kind of serves as like a background to elements leading right into Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So you kind of get to see like where Grievous came from, where Asajj Ventress came from, Anakin's training into becoming an official Jedi Knight. Just kind of seeing a number of battles that took place within that time period. Now, I will admit that they definitely expand upon it in like the CGI Clone Wars series, but I do think that this one, very much on its own, was very, very good. I love the art style. I love the voice acting, which is very, very good. I love seeing characters. And even though it's technically non-canon and it kind of fits in the Legends department, there's still some elements about it that I thought were really, really cool and very enjoyable, and something I always go back and rewatch multiple times. So yeah, the 2003 Star Wars Clone Wars miniseries. It was very entertaining, even by today's standards. And this was during George Lucas's period, so that's even more impressive. And taking the number 1 spot, in my opinion, without question, the best amount of non-live action Star Wars animated content has to go to the Star Wars CGI Clone Wars TV series that ran surprisingly from 2008 all the way to 2020. So 12 years. I think like 7 seasons. That's a lot of content. And I'll even openly admit, I was actually probably one of the few individuals that actually went out of my way to see the first Clone Wars CGI film in theaters. And it was easily one of the best movie experiences that I've ever had in my life, because it is only one of 2 times where I've had a theater completely by myself, which says a lot. Like, maybe a lot of people didn't want to go see this, but the fact that I had an entire theater to myself was something I had a lot of fun with, because heck, I didn't even need to sit down. I could do whatever I want in that theater, and I had a blast. I think it's kind of interesting when you look in retrospective, because when it first started, there wasn't a very high opinion of the Clone Wars series. A lot of people were very negatively felt negatively about it. I mean, they were wondering why are you replacing the miniseries? Oh, this isn't really going to go anywhere. Ahsoka's a terrible character. So to kind of see the fan base gradually start accepting the Clone Wars series, and then loving the Clone Wars series, and then rejoicing when it came back to conclude, leading up into the events of Revenge of the Sith, was just an amazing journey that I was a part of the entire way through. Yeah, I too was also kind of, critical of some of the early episodes or seasons of the Clone Wars, but it gradually got better. It filled in a lot of gaps. It gave a lot of character development to a lot of characters. And so even though I do feel that when you look at the period of time after Attack of the Clones leading into Revenge of the Sith, Revenge of the Sith needs to stand on its own 2 feet without needing all this extra detail. And I do think it does that pretty successfully. But because we have all this content over that period of time of the Clone Wars, I think for me personally, it just enhanced my enjoyment of Revenge of the Sith all that much, to kind of see what all these characters were going through, all the schemes, all the battles, everything that was building up to the moments of Revenge of the Sith just made it even better. And that's something that I can say that none of the other animated shows was able to do. It's very good to be great on your own, but when you can enhance the enjoyment of the live action films, that is something that takes extreme levels of talent. And I believe that no other TV show in the animated department did a better job than the Clone Wars CGI series, which is why it will always remain my favorite Star Wars animated TV show of all time. So now that you guys know my ranking, I would like to know, how would you rank these Star Wars animated shows? Share your ranking with me and everyone else in the comments down below. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you guys next time.